What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, you know when I do these 7 o'clock premieres, right? I try to get something that, you know, is interesting for you guys. And a lot of times you guys see me lose my shit on here. And I'm being honest with you. This is a story I did before. But new information has come up and it makes the story that much more worse. And I wanted to share it with you guys tonight. If you guys been sticking with me for the past couple years, since I've been on YouTube, you remember this little girl right here. Her name is Treasure McWeay. Now she's from Maryland, right? And she was starved to death in Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out Atlanta, shout out Maryland. This girl at the time of her death, around September 2023, when she was found, weighed only 25 pounds at 4 years old. Her father, this dude right here, this animal, his name is Rodney McWeay, age 32. This dude's a piece of crap. And when I say a piece of crap, I use a capital C. This guy right here, if you remember the story, any of you guys that, you know, followed it, this guy went to Maryland, took his kids, I think it was 4 of them, Treasure included, by force from the mother after they were taken from him by DFS. Went to Maryland, took her car and the kids, strong-armed her, and robbed her of her children, took them back to his place, right? Now, took them by force. Police, DFS were involved in it, and nothing was done because people are lazy and don't want to do their job. And we'll get to that in a second. This girl was feet away from being freed to where she could have survived this if people had just did their damn job. And it's upsetting. I tell you a lot of times on my videos, I tell you there are a lot of people that suffer in silence, children included. And this story about little Treasure is just another one of them. But before we go into the recent news, you know, from a Fox 5 I-Team investigation, and shout out to them for getting all this information out, let's take it back from the beginning. Look.
4-year-old boy. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Behind bars, charged with murder in the death of a 4-year-old boy. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Russ Spencer.
I'm Courtney Bryant. Rodney McWeay now faces multiple charges, including murder. Fox 5's Kim Leffler joins us now from the Fulton County Jail with more. Kim?
Well, Rodney McWeay waived his scheduled first appearance here at the Fulton County Jail earlier this morning. In addition to that murder charge, police have also charged him with cruelty to children, kidnapping, and false imprisonment. Atlanta police took Rodney McWeay into custody Thursday in connection to the death of a 4-year-old boy on Renfrew Court in southwest Atlanta. Officers got called to this home the morning of December 11th, where they discovered the 4-year-old boy who wasn't breathing. Medics rushed the child to the hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. McWeay now faces several charges, including murder, cruelty to children in the first and second degree, kidnapping, and false imprisonment. In addition to the December charges, McWeay also has charges dating back to June of this year and May of 2021. After hearing about the death, neighbors told Fox 5 the family kept to themselves, but they often saw children playing outside.
I don't really know him. When I come to visit my mother, I see him outside playing.
So far, Atlanta police have not said how McWeay is connected to the 4-year-old boy or exactly how he died. Now, we have requested a copy of the arrest warrant in this case to find out more about exactly what led up to this child's death. As soon as we receive that, we'll bring that information right to you. At the Fulton County Jail this evening, Kim Leffler, Fox 5 News.
Just going back and revisiting that, it's still hard to deal with and think about. That this guy did this to his own damn kids. Now, what more information had came out, this guy had these children in deplorable conditions. Black mold, roaches, all kind of stuff in there. No food, no water in the damn house. You took those kids as a power move. and didn't care nothing about them. He beat these children, starved them. He deprived them of food and water near the end. Little Treasure was so emaciated, she couldn't even stand up. She was non-responsive when they found her. I want you to think about that. Now, this is the part that's crazy. A lot of people say a lot of times when I do these videos, and they'll say, oh yeah, well, he'll get his in jail. He did get something in jail. In August of 2024, this guy was stabbed trying to steal commissary from another inmate in Fulton County Jail, where he resides. And look how stupid he looked in this video when they describe the details. The mindset of some people that have children lets you know everything you need to know of why they need to be shown the flowers. I don't know why they deal with throwing people in jail that have been there before and is used to it. Know the jail lifestyle, jail politics, ain't scared of incarceration, and their actions out here in the quote unquote free society show it. Look.
A single father accused of disturbing crimes against his own children is in even more legal hot water tonight.
Rodney McWeay has been locked up since last December, accused of starving his 4-year-old daughter to death and inflicting serious abuse on her 2 brothers.
A Fox 5 I-Team investigation earlier this year revealed major problems in police procedure leading up to Treasure's death, prompting changes in how Atlanta police work with Child Protective Services.
Now I-Team reporter Johnny Edwards learned Rodney McWeay faces even more felony counts. And Johnny, this was over an incident that happened behind bars.
That's right, for allegedly trying to rob another inmate inside the Fulton County Jail using a shank. And this time it seems the intended victim got the upper hand.
Rodney McWeay hasn't been a free man for the past 8 months, ever since Atlanta police charged him with killing his own daughter, allegedly kidnapping her and her brothers from their mother in Maryland, keeping them locked up in a squalid duplex unit, and depriving them of food and water until 4-year-old Treasure McWeay couldn't stand up alone, weighing just 24 pounds.
She was extremely emaciated, just pure bone.
McWeay, age 32, already facing 16 felony charges, including murder, kidnapping, and cruelty to children. Now the Fulton County Sheriff's Office accusing McWeay of yet another crime, this time against a fellow inmate using a makeshift blade or shank.
A big problem at the Fulton County Jail is the actual facility itself is crumbling. The crumbling facility materials are now being turned into dangerous weapons. Pieces of metal, pieces of brick and cinder block, pieces of cement.
The alleged attack happened here at the Rice Street Jail in cell number 108 back in May. We learned the details just recently through records obtained in an open records request to the Sheriff's Office, revealing yet another callous alleged act by McWeay.
The account from Jailhouse Incident reports McWeay wanted another man's store, meaning items he purchased from the jail's commissary, which sells snacks, socks, underwear, writing paper, and stamps and envelopes, among other things. The surveillance camera shows McWeay entering the cell of Duricor Humphrey, a larger man who's also in jail on murder charges. According to his warrants, McWeay demanded the goods, then pulled the shank out of his waistband. What happened next? Well, in Humphrey's own words from an incident report, "We got the tussling. He dropped the shank. I picked it up and stabbed him with it." McWeay leaving the cell bleeding from deep gashes to his face, shoulder, and back, and empty-handed. Now facing 3 more felonies: aggravated assault, possession of a dangerous weapon, and rioting in a penal institution.
So violence becomes a regular and common occurrence with people that are either facing or under sentence for life.
While the new charges don't impact McWeay's murder case directly, longtime criminal defense attorney Joshua Schiffer said they might be used as leverage in a plea deal.
Here's what's really going to happen. They got him, from everything I can find, pretty dead to rights on the major murder stuff. They're going to pick and choose and lean on him, and he has a public defender who has a really tough job.
The Fox 5 I-Team's previous reporting on the case found Little Treasure McWeay's alleged tormentor wasn't the only one to blame in the case. After the kidnapping, police, as well as caseworkers from the State Division of Family and Children's Services, went to the door of the mold-infested duplex unit at least 3 times, looking for the children. But McWeay didn't answer the door. Police and DFS didn't coordinate. And the I-Team found police didn't follow their own policies. Following our investigation, Atlanta police announced an overhaul in how it handles calls for assistance from DFACs.
When it comes down to the bottom line of why this child was starved to death, is because the police did not intervene when they had ample opportunities to do so.
So in other words, they should have kicked the door in.
If the person doesn't answer the door and the door's locked, you kick it in.
Now, the inmate McWeay allegedly tried to rob wasn't criminally charged over the shank incident, but the sheriff's office said he received disciplinary jail charges. Duricor Humphrey faces murder charges in the 2021 shooting death of Keon Yarber. After Treasure's death, APD announced an internal investigation into its handling of the 911 calls. We're still waiting on the results, but we did learn at least one officer has been disciplined, receiving, quote, oral admonishment. Russ, Courtney?
Embarrassing. See what it said? He went in there and tried to steal somebody's store. Where they commissary. Guy had a store. I guess he does 2-for-1s. A surplus of stuff in a place where a bunch of hungry people are. He runs up in there. Oh, solo. Pulls the shank out of his waistband. I want all of the store. Give it to me. Him and the guy get to fighting. He winds up dropping his own shank, gets stabbed in the face, shoulder, and back. Runs the fuck up out of there looking stupid. Trying to rob somebody. Should have ended him right there. And in my opinion, that right there ain't got nothing to do with the case. That's just him being him. Getting used to that jail mentality and wanting to be a part of it. It almost cost his stupid ass his life, which wouldn't have been a bad thing. Because I'm going to tell you something. I'm so sick, and I've been like this. Sick and tired of people locking up people like it's going to teach them a lesson. And it's not. It's not a form of punishment. It's just rehousing. You're not in the street no more. Prison's your new home. You still get to live, laugh, hell, sometimes love. If you know what I'm talking about. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. They need to start looking at these murder charges. When you commit murder in the United States, period. Intentional murder, it needs to take, the feds need to pick that up, and it needs to be a federal crime. And on top of that, the punishment need to be death, not incarceration. We spend far too many wasted money, dollars, whether it's taxpayer dollars or wherever the money comes from, to house and feed these pieces of shit that's out here doing this type of stuff. Money that could be allocated to mental health, the homeless population, education, other stuff. It's like people are being coddled and taken care of for bad behavior because there's somebody up there that don't want to say, oh, because of the values, every life is precious. Fuck that. Fuck that. These are feral people. Animals. They don't give a shit about nothing. Look at the crime you're seeing. It's done out in the public, right in front of your face. The fucking demons are at your door and kicking it in. Barbarians been at the gate, but motherfuckers act like they don't hear them knocking. This guy right here, I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you what the I-Team Investigates showed with the body cam footage, because they just got it, I guess last week when this story broke. And it talks about DFACs, and it talks about Atlanta PD, how they dropped the ball, and all of them need to be on the hook for what happened to little Treasure McWeay. This is stupid as hell. It's dumb. Take a look at this, man. This is absolutely head-scratching. Look.
Last year, a Fox 5 I-Team investigation found a dead child might have been able to be saved had Atlanta police and child welfare workers cooperated on finding her. Instead, the I-Team found that APD didn't follow its own policies, never getting past the front door, where Treasure McWeay's father allegedly withheld food and water. It's taken a whole year, but I-Team reporter Johnny Edwards finally has the department's internal investigation into the case, along with body cam footage.
For the past year, APD wouldn't talk about this case, citing an ongoing investigation. Now it's over and they still won't talk. So what's on the body cams? Multiple personnel on multiple calls going to no extra effort to find some children who were in danger.
Even if, say, we knock on the door and the kids are in there, there's nothing at all we can do.
Okay.
That's an Atlanta police sergeant talking about 3 children who'd allegedly been kidnapped. One of them, 4-year-old Treasure McWeay. The sergeant at the time parked outside her father's duplex unit in West Atlanta. According to court records, the children would stay locked inside that mold-infested unit, left alone for hours without food or water, under camera surveillance. Treasure wilting away of starvation, allegedly at the hands of her father, Rodney McWeay.
It is disappointing to watch those body cam videos to see the kind of laissez-faire response to these particular calls, given the nature of the calls.
That day in July 2023, a woman had called police identifying herself as a friend of the mother.
But somehow Dad ended up back in Maryland and took the kids away from Mom. And Mom has been trying to figure out where the kids are.
Sergeant Johnny Sutton never getting out of his car.
We have to verify the case number if in fact this person did report the kids to be taken and whatnot, and make sure that they did the proper steps. Because sometimes you'll have people that will try to use the police to harass others.
Then driving past the house. That's just one example of officers doing the bare minimum when called to the McWeay home. If it seems like not enough, that's because it wasn't, according to an APD internal investigation that ended with discipline for 5 personnel.
Atlanta 911, non-emergency.
Yeah, this is Fulton County DFS. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
A Fox 5 I-Team investigation of the case found a lack of cooperation between APD and child welfare workers. The Division of Family and Children's Services had removed Treasure and her brothers from Rodney McWay's home in late June after finding deplorable conditions inside. The children taken to Maryland by their mother until this.
Dad went up to Maryland this past July. He strong-armed her, pushed her out, and stole the car with the kids.
The DFAC's case manager heard here asked for an officer to meet her at the home.
So we know he's there.
All right, send an officer to the location.
But Officer John Hurst wouldn't be dispatched until more than an hour and a half later. The case manager had given up and left. Hurst did get out of his car. Less than a minute later, walking away.
39 code 12, no answer to the door.
For that, Officer Hurst received oral admonishment. The sergeant, a written reprimand. 3 other officers who went to the duplex also received light punishment. The I-Team tried contacting all of them with no success.
For Officer Michael Gaither, a written reprimand. He was called to the house back in 2022 by the children's mother, interacting with Rodney.
Talk to me for just a second, all right? I'm Officer Gaither.
How can I help you?
Yes, sir.
Did I do anything wrong? You think I go in my house?
Never checking the children.
You just seen how he was acting. Like he gonna hit me once everybody leaves.
Right now, no crime has been committed based on what you told me.
And this officer orally admonished for not knocking on the door or investigating more when summoned by DFACs in June 2023.
The 5-year-old stays locked up in the back. The 2-year-old, and they all wear pull-ups.
The same day DFACs would remove the children.
No, just the TV on.
All of this culminating in a dead child.
I'm trying to get an ambulance over here for a baby that's not breathing.
McWeay charged with murder, kidnapping, and child cruelty and scheduled for trial in June. After our reporting on this case, APD announced an overhaul in how it works with DFACs, saying DFACs calls would be dispatched within 2 minutes.
You have to know that the children are probably there, right?
Atlanta City Councilman Michael Julian Bond said he plans to ask APD leaders if that new policy is working.
There has to be a more serious, dogmatic, energetic approach to making sure that this never happens in the city of Atlanta again.
The records we received contain nothing about the last documented call to the house less than a month before Treasure died, when police took almost 5 hours to arrive and got no answer at the door. Now, since that policy change, APD says its average response time on DFACs-related calls now 35 minutes, 9 seconds. That's based on 147 calls last year. At the live desk, Johnny Edwards, Fox 5 News.
See that? That's appalling. This guy had kidnapped these kids and had them for months. Abusing them, not teaching them nothing, starving them at the end. So angry, but he want to have control. Didn't care nothing about the kids. They were just things. And they suffered. All of them. This little girl, they said, weighed what, 25 pounds? I want you to think about that. How many times she cried because her stomach hurt. The other ones also. How many times they was beaten, told to shut up and stop complaining because this guy right here didn't give a fuck about them in the beginning. You created these kids, but you didn't take care of them. That in itself is sinful and should be punishable by death, in my opinion. I think they coddle criminals in this country. They do. This guy admitted that he did it. Yeah, fucking yeah. Now why the fuck is he still alive? Why the fuck is he still breathing? I've been hungry many times, especially in jail, because you ain't got shit. But I've never been to the point of starvation. But the little taste I had of an insatiable hunger was enough for me to, think about those that don't have. And can you imagine a child going through that? Don't know when your next meal is coming? Or when you get a next drink of water? The ones that are entrusted in you, the ones that you love, and the ones that you think would care about you, don't. This guy didn't look like he missed any meals. Did you see when the cop caught him outside the house? That's the part that's head scratching. Did I do anything wrong? He just walked away from the cop and went in the house. See, think about that. They had him right there. It's funny how you can get pulled over and they can find a warrant on your ass with a parking ticket, but nothing happens to this motherfucking dude right here. Somebody dropped the ball and heads need to roll. DFS right in front of the fucking house. All of these national databases and stuff. Nobody know that he kidnapped these fucking kids. Nobody know he ain't supposed to have kids in his house. House looked like shit on the outside. Imagine what it was on the inside. Nobody did nothing. DFS worker sitting out front of the house, waiting an hour. Nobody came. She left, or he left. Tired of playing Candy Crush. Whoop, lunchtime, fuck this baby. Drives off. Police. We need a number. We need a case number. We need this. We need that. Everybody's unprepared. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I think the majority of police, this is just my opinion, are lazy. I think that the majority of police adapt a certain type of mentality from being out there seeing violence and trying to apprehend people and seeing the same stuff over and over again. In their head, they get desensitized and it warps them a little bit to where they become violent themselves. Look at how police officers are, a lot of them at home with their families. A lot of that stuff don't get documented. Them people are crazy in the house. Wild as hell. You know what I'm saying? Get triggered easy. A lot of them are abusive. But this guy right here was walking around. Hell, they ain't get me. You drove all the way from, Maryland to Georgia, and nobody caught you after you stole the kids? Strong-armed them? No interstate pursuit, no state troopers, no be on the lookout or nothing? Come on, man. Come on. This stuff will continue to happen. Why? Because the system is the system. Everybody passes the buck. These people, DFS, police, all of them, they do the job and go home. Do the 8-10 hour shifts or whatever it is they do, go home. These kids are just numbers and names. They're not people. They're not personable. It's just a job. And it's just like any other job. Some days you feel like doing it and some days you don't. And lives suffer for it. And that's what's sinful. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. You lucky I don't run shit. You lucky I don't run shit. I would fix all of this bullshit. For real. All them executive orders, fuck foreign policy and all that shit right now. Things are staying in place as of such. We're going to fix us first. We're going to fix this whole America. And then we'll worry about other shit. Close the borders and clean this motherfucking toilet bowl up. Because right now, as it stands, America's a fucking shit show. Don't matter who the fuck is in office. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.